Okay, start. So
Yes.
let's begin. Last week, there was a request put in for a special topic. I wasn't ready for the request last week, but I thought the idea was a great idea and I got very excited about it. So I am ready to do our topic. And the question that was asked last week was, how do you create positive thinking? How do you program your mind to think positively? It's a really good question. So let me first start by saying that it's not natural for us to think positively. It's natural for us to really think about what's going to happen. I'm worried about things. I'm anticipating things. I'm staying up at night worrying. Our natural automatic response is that we have negative thoughts, negative recurring thoughts. Here's a great thing to think about. You're never going to stay up a whole night thinking about, wow, I'm so happy about this great thing that happened. I'm so happy I had that yummy chocolate ice cream today. I love chocolate ice cream, but I will never stay up a whole night thinking about how much I love chocolate ice cream. On the other hand, if something is bothering me, if somebody was rude to me that day, or if I lost it at somebody that day and I was rude to somebody, I will stay up a whole night and think about it. And it will go over and over in my head, the whole scene, I'll relive it. Oh my gosh, that person insulted me. And because they insulted me, the way that I responded back was very mean and very rude. And that's considered normal. That is normal. So you get it? Do not in any way think to yourself, well, I'm such a negative person. Everybody else in the world is so positive, and I'm such a negative person. No, 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 no. Our automatic, immediate response to things is in a negative way. And it's very, very challenging. And our brain, the way it works is that our brain will go back to things that happen to us as we're going through life. In other words, if I was going someplace, let's say I was going and doing a skydiving trip, which is not something I would do, but let's just say I'm doing skydiving. And I'm very fearful about doing skydiving. Right? That's a big thing. I'm fearful. Or let's go to something even more simple. I'm going in to take a test, and I'm scared I'm going to fail my test. I'm very fearful about the test, right? Or I'm going in for a job interview, and I'm very afraid about the job interview, right? Very, very normal. Those kind of things happen over and over again in our heads. And we repeat them over and over. Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid. The last time I took a test, I was so afraid. The last time I went for a job interview, I was so afraid. So we create this pattern where these thoughts are constantly recurring in our head. We go over them and over them and over them. And what happens? They become our normal way of thinking. And we start thinking that way in a natural way. So that's what we're talking about tonight. How do we, instead of thinking negatively, how do we get our brains to start thinking positively? Okay. So I want to bring up letters. The 4 letters are RWID. RWID. And what does that mean? It's relative, weight, importance, and duration. Relative, weight, importance, and duration. What does it mean? That means how much importance do I give to something in my mind? How many times, how many hours am I going to stay up worrying and thinking that, oh my gosh, I failed that test. Oh my gosh, that person's never going to ask me out on a date. Oh my gosh, I embarrassed myself. I will go over it, over it, over it. And what does that do to my brain? That makes my brain very used to, over and over, conditioning this negative thought. I'm conditioning myself to negativity. I'm giving the negative thoughts a lot of weight. I'm giving them a lot of duration. I'm giving them a lot of importance. And the repetition gives it importance. A great example, right? When you go on Google and you Google something, you Google best movie, Google a movie, what's going to pop up? You know what's going to pop up? What's going to pop up is the movie that has come up for everybody else. In other words, it has been Googled so many times that that Google will be the top Google on the list. Now, that may not be the best movie, but it was Googled over and over again. People kept Googling that movie, and it kept, let's say, The Greatest Showman, right? So that people kept looking at The Greatest Showman. And because of that, that movie kept on moving up in the ratings, and it ended up being all the way on top of the list of Google. That's how our brain works. It's something that gets a lot of importance in our brain, and that's brought up over and over and over again. It's going to be on the top list of our brain. So that's where automatic thinking comes in. Our brains are really very simple. It will go to a place that is an automatic thought. You go in for a job or interview, you're automatically used to being afraid about a job interview, having the worst thoughts. I'm gonna fail at this. I'm not gonna do well at this. You go in for a competition, I'm gonna fail at this, because those are the thoughts. What? Those are the thoughts you kept thinking over again. Are you thinking over and over again about your successes? Unfortunately, not. We're not repeating our successes over and over. We're very, very, very focused on repeating our negative thoughts over and over again. You follow? Get it? So what are we gonna do about that? How do we undo that kind of a behavior? So are we all on the same page in terms of it being very normal? It's automatic to be thinking negative thoughts. It's automatic. Why? Because we have conditioned our head to automatically think all the time about, I'm not gonna do well, I'm gonna fail. We stay up all night worrying and worrying, okay? So how do we do this? We have to start paying attention to our thoughts. We have to start thinking about our thoughts, because what do you want to do? You want to take those automatic negative thoughts, and what do you want to create? Automatic positive thoughts. You want the Google positive to come up first. You don't want the Google negative to come up first. You want the Google positive to come up first. Now, how do you do that? How do you tell yourself that you want to think positive thoughts? I want to think about what a good person I am instead of thinking about what a failure I am. I want to think about that good things are going to happen to me. Good things are going to happen on my interview. I want to think about those things. I don't want to think about that I'm going to be a failure on the interview. I want to think that I'm going to be good. So what do I have to do? I have to redirect my brain. When my brain is going to bring up a negative thought, what do we do? When my brain brings up a negative thought, you say to yourself, oh, I don't want to think about it. I'm just not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about that I'm going to fail that test tomorrow. I'm not going to think about it. But that's not going to work. What we need to do is we need to take the negative thought of I'm going to fail that test tomorrow, and we want to redirect it. We want to create a positive thought. So it's not good enough to try to eliminate the negative thought. We have to take the negative thought and we have to create a positive thought, which means we have to pay attention to the positive thing that could happen. Are we getting it? It's a very, very deep thought. But do you follow what we're talking about? That we have to create a positive thought, and we have to make it happen in our heads over and over again. So how do you do this? So we're going to do this. From now on, whenever you're standing online, any place, whether you're standing online at Starbucks, whether you're standing online at a food place, at a supermarket, anywhere that you're standing online, from now on, you're going to start paying attention to your thoughts. You're going to say to yourself, well, what am I thinking now? And if you're thinking something negative, you're not going to say to yourself, oh, I'm going to stop thinking something negative. What am I going to do? I'm going to start thinking something positive. I'm going to start paying attention to my thoughts, and I'm going to redirect my thoughts so that if I'm standing online and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person is not really, everybody else is going ahead of me. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn my thought into a positive thought and say to myself, you know what? I'm a very patient person. I don't mind that I'm standing online very, very long. Why? Because I'm going to identify myself as a patient person. I'm not going to stay in the bad place. I'm going to go to a good place. And I'm going to literally talk to myself. I'm going to be the word is mindful, of course. and I'm going to focus on it, and I'm going to visualize it. And as I stand in line, I'm going to focus on the idea, well, what does that mean that I'm a kind person? That means people are going to like me. That means I'm not going to be upset about someone going ahead of me in line. On the contrary, I'm going to be happy for them. I'm going to do the exact opposite of the negative thought. I'm going to turn it into a positive thought. I'm happy that person is going in front of me. I'm happy they're going in front of me. I'm happy that they're going to get their coffee before I get my coffee. I'm going to feel what that feels like. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm actually going to visualize. What does that feel like to be a kind person? Well, you know what? It feels very good. It feels very good to think good thoughts about somebody else. It feels good to think, you know, it's good. I'm happy that that person is going to get served before I get served. Or let's take an example. I'm standing in line and I'm worried about the job interview that I'm going to, right? And that's all that's on my mind. I'm going to be terrible at that job interview. What am I going to do? Am I going to say, I don't want to think about that? No. I'm going to turn it into a positive thought. And I'm going to say, I'm going to be great at that job interview. I'm going to be really good. The people at the job interview, they're going to love me. I'm going to smile at them. I'm going to show them that I'm smart. I'm going to show them how good I am and great I am. I'm going to turn it into a very positive thought. It's going to become positive. And I'm going to visualize it. Why is it so important to visualize it? Because we're very sensory people. We feel and we sense things. So if we feel a positive feeling, if we feel a positive outcome of what's going to happen, and we sense it, we're going to feel very good about it. And we're going to go over it in our heads. We're going to pay attention to it. We're going to, the same way that people go on Google and they keep Googling over that movie. Well, I'm going to go over that thought, and I'm going to go over it again and again. And I'm going to say to myself, I'm really, really smart. They're really going to like me. This job, they're going to be so lucky to have me at the job. So not only am I eliminating the bad thought, it's not good enough to eliminate the bad thought, to become, if you want to do what we talked about last week, how do we become positive people? It's not good enough to eliminate the bad thought. What do we have to do? We have to actively create, visualize, sensitize ourselves to a positive thought. We have to pay attention to the positive thought. And we don't have to only do it once or twice. It's about duration. It's about doing it a lot of times. It's about feeling the thought. And it's doing it over and over again. It's forcing your brain. It is actually forcing your brain to think positively. It's forcing your brain to focus and visualize an alternative to the negative thought process. Are you following this? It's very, 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 very deep. It's it's a real exercise. It's something to do. And I'm telling you that one of the ways to do it is while you're standing online, instead of like going on your iPhone and looking at a movie, while you're online and you're getting irritated that you're standing online, or you're starting to have all these thoughts, because we're normal. Our normal way, our automatic response, unfortunately, is to go into our past experience and worry about things and say, oh, I'm not going to do well. I'm going to fail this test. I'm not going to do well. I'm not going to succeed at this job. But what am I saying now? I'm not saying stop thinking negatively. I'm not saying don't think that you're going to fail. Don't think that you're not going to do good at this job. Don't think that you're angry at people. I'm saying exactly the opposite. Think that you are going to be a success. Think that you're going to be amazing. Think that you are going to be very successful. And once you keep doing that and you give it a lot of hits on your computer, so to speak, you keep going back to that and saying positive, 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 you're conditioning your brain into a positive thought. Follow? So what I would like to do is, it's an exercise, and I thought that we would all do it together. I can answer some questions before if you'd like, but I would like to go to the idea that I have in mind. The idea in mind is that When you wake up in the morning, I want you to write down, because, you know, we all think it's so easy to become a positive person, that people are born that way. They're born to be positive. It's not. We're all born to be positive, but as life goes on, because of the experiences that we go through, our automatic thought response makes us think negatively, and we have to train our brains to be positive. And that's why we need to do this exercise. We're going to start with it. You wake up in the morning and you write down 5 questions, 5 good questions that will bring you to positive thinking. What are 5 questions? Think for a moment now. Everybody come into like my, mind waves right now, and think about 5 questions that will bring you to a positive place. What are 5? One, I'm sure that you're all thinking about right away. What's a positive question right away that you're going to ask yourself is?
What are you grateful for?
Excellent. I knew you were going to say that. What am I grateful for? And now it's not enough to ask yourself the question. You have to answer the question. So it's 5 questions, and those 5 questions have a question and then an answer. So one question would be, what am I grateful for? And then you have to answer the question, what are you grateful for? Anybody want to hop in? What are you grateful for?
The roof over my shoulders.
My grandma.
Thank you. Yeah. What am I grateful for? You get it? That's the first question. What about another question? Another question that it's all about thinking positively. What am I grateful for? Another question might be, anybody? What would be another question?
You can ask, what am I good at? Like, what are my greatest qualities?
Love. I love it. I love it. What are my good qualities? And then you have to answer the question. What are your good qualities? What would that be? It could be anything, but you have to find them. I'm kind. I'm enthusiastic.
Patient.
I'm a patient person. Right? Exactly. I'm going to focus on the good. What are my good qualities? What would be another question if you wanted to ask a positive question? Anything simple. It could be anything positive. For instance, how can I show love to somebody that I love? How can I show love to somebody that I love? It's a very positive thought. How can I show love to somebody that I love? And I have to answer that. Well, I can show love to somebody that I love by calling them. I can show love to somebody that I love by texting them. I can show love to somebody that I love just by sending them a heart. I can show, are you following? So now you have to think of 5 questions, and you have to have answers to those 5 questions. Another question might be, how can I show kindness? That would be different than showing love. How can I show someone kindness? And again, you're in that place. What are we doing? We're reconditioning our mind to have positive thoughts. We're creating a place in our heads that is positive. Are we just going to say, I'm not going to think bad thoughts? No, that's not the way we're going to do it. We're going to start thinking positive thoughts. We're going to think, and the more we think positive thoughts, the more our brain will give us positive thoughts. Now this exercise about the 5 questions that you're going to ask yourself during the day, I don't even mind if the 5 questions that you ask yourself in the morning are the same 5 questions every single day. Even that's okay. But those 5 questions, I want you to ask yourself those 5 questions in the morning, noon, and at night. I want you to ask yourself those 5 questions 3 times a day. Why? Why do I want you to ask yourself those 5 questions 3 times a day? Because I'm trying to create a new conditioning in your brain. I'm trying to get you to think in a different kind of way. I want to put a lot of weight on it. I want to create it very weighty. How am I going to do that? By doing it 3 times a day. I want to give it a lot of importance. How am I going to do that? By doing it 3 times a day. I want to have a lot of duration to it. I want it to have a lot of time to it. How am I going to do that? By doing it 3 times a day. I'm taking the positive thoughts and I'm replacing them with the old automatic negative thoughts. And that has to be done in a very opposite kind of way. It's the opposite of my old thoughts. So whatever my old thoughts were, I am now going to visualize and focus very positive thoughts. And I'm going to feel it. I'm going to say to myself, how good would that feel for me to text somebody that I love and tell them that I love them? How good would that feel to text somebody that I love with a little heart? How good would it feel for me to pick up the phone and just say, oh, hi, just wanted to hear your voice. It's very positive. It takes up a lot of space. And that brain that was taking up a lot of space with those automatic negative thoughts, now I'm going to fill it up with positive thoughts so that my response will be automatic positive thoughts. Interesting idea, right? Very interesting. So one idea is this thing of the 5 questions 3 times a day, right? We're going to do it. We are going to do it. We're going to do it even tonight. Another part is, I love this, 3 words of how I want to describe myself. Now, my automatic thoughts before I started thinking positively would be my automatic thoughts about describing myself. Well, I'm anxious, I worry, I get depressed. That's all. We all do the same thing. We all go to those negative thoughts. Well, guess what? I want you to come up with 3 words of how you would like someone to describe you. I want 3 words of how you would like someone to describe you. And I would like to do that now. Why? Because when you have those 3 words in your head or on your phone, you write it down in your notes. I want to be described in these 3 words. I want people to think I'm a sensitive person. This is for me. I'm giving you mine already. I want people to think I'm a sensitive person. I want people to think I'm an enthusiastic person. And I want people to think that I'm attentive to them. Those are my 3 things. So I'm going to put them into my phone. They're in my phone already. They're in my notes. I look at my phone and I say to myself, that's how I want people to know me. I want people to know me as being enthusiastic, sensitive, and attentive. Enthusiastic, sensitive, attentive. I want people to look at me and say, she is sensitive, she's attentive, she's enthusiastic to me. I want people to look at me that way. Now, how am I going to do that? By looking at it and keep saying to myself, that's how I want people to know me. I want them to know me as being sensitive. I want them to know me as being attentive to them. I want them to know me as being enthusiastic and interested in them. Now, remember, when I first started, those were not my thoughts. I was very negative. I was anxious. How much can I really be sensitive to what other people are saying to me or attentive to what other people are saying to me if I'm consumed in my head with negative thoughts of anxiety, with negative thoughts of myself, my narcissism, my own self-thoughts? I'm not going to be sensitive to others. So that's why I don't want to go to say to myself, well, I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be narcissistic. No, no, no. I want to find an opposite. I want an opposite behavior. And I want to keep conditioning myself to this opposite behavior. And I don't think this is such a hard thing to do. I think we all do it when we exercise. When you exercise, what are you doing? You're constantly conditioning yourself. You know, you start out with lifting 3 weights, 3, right? That's what I started. Then you can move to 5 weights. Then you move to 10 weights. And then you move to 25 weights. And you don't even remember the person that you were when you were lifting 3 weights. 3-pound weights? I was that person? Never. I'm a person that lifts 25 pounds. That's who I am. I'm a 25-pound weightlifter. I know a lot of you guys you're thinking, oh, 25 pounds. I'm a 200-pound weightlifter. But the important part is identifying yourself as a superhero or as a hero or not, as your own hero. Identifying yourself as a positive, entity. I am positive. I'm positive. I'm positive over and over and over. The same way that Google has the top hit, always, what's the top hit? The top hit is going to be the hit that was hit over and over and over and over again. I'm going to hit my hit of thinking of myself as being attentive over and over. I'm attentive. I'm attentive. I'm attentive. And guess what? I'm going to keep hitting my attentive button and I will become an attentive person. I'll keep hitting that positivity. I will become that positive person. And then you know what? People are going to say, you're so positive. Were you born that way? No, I wasn't born this way. But it's a habit. It's a conditioning. It's something I keep training myself to do over and over and over again. And then I become that person. So that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. And I'm open to questions. I would like to add one more thing that's, I always like to, when I can, I like to bring the Torah in. And over here, there's one more extra little piece here about changing your attitude. A lot of changing your attitude has to do, it's about your mind, it's about visualizing, it's about focusing, it's about all of that. But a lot of it has to do with changing your behavior. If you can change your behavior before you even feel it, you know that expression, fake it till you make it? If you can change your behavior until you feel it, you're going to change. You'll become a different person. In the Torah, it says, in the Pirkei Avos, it says, mitoch, for those of you who speak Hebrew, but for those of you who don't, I'll translate, mitoch lo lishma, ba lishma. From doing something, even if you don't feel it, if you keep doing it over and over and over again, you'll start feeling it. And I remember at the very beginning, when I first started davening mincha, the afternoon prayer, it was like, it wasn't really a prayer that I did all the time. And at the beginning, I said to myself, I'm going to set my alarm so that I can do it. And I'll just keep doing it. I wasn't really feeling it at that time. It was the behavior I wanted to do. But guess what? After I did it once, twice, 5 times, 7 times, 14 times, 21 times, I started looking forward to that time of the day when I had a chance to stop my day and just connect with God and say, thank you, God. Thank you for the life you give me. Thank you for letting me stay alive. It's my time in the day that no matter what's going on, I take a break and I connect. Now that behavior did not come because I said, oh, I want to pray because I'm feeling connected. I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I started feeling connected. So a lot of times when you want to create this new person, this new positive person, a lot of times you have to create that person. And then it starts to come on its own. Start being nice to people. Start behaving in a way that Diana said, that you are patient. And you will become patient. You will become that person. Do it over and over. Now, none of this is going to happen by itself. It's an exercise. It's about being mindful. It's about paying attention. It's not going to happen, boom, like this. It's not. It's not. Anybody that tells you you can suddenly change and become a positive person, here, just do this. That's not the way it works. It's work. It's about conditioning your brain to positivity over and over. Visualizing how good it would feel to feel like a good person. Visualizing how good it would feel to feel good. It doesn't feel good to feel negative. It feels good to feel positive. So you visualize it, you sense it, and you're actually working against your automatic brain response. You're working against your brain. You're actually mindfully working against your brain. Okay. So what are your thoughts? Anybody? And then we'll do a little exercise. Rabbi?
Well, my thoughts, just to reflect on what you were saying, I think for me, the most valuable idea was that you said that it's very normal for a person to feel scared, to feel confused, to feel, so to speak, uncomfortable. Because if we understand that it is normal and we accept that, we don't get upset that we're getting upset. We accept our upsetness or our fears, so to speak. And therefore we can turn, so to speak, as in music, the minor into major, or the sadness into joy. So in order to make this move and start acting and feeling differently, say to yourself other things, I think we need to accept ourselves where we are. And that, I think, where, at least I'm talking about myself, that is the greatest difficulty. The greatest difficulty is accepting yourself, not being in a good mood, and not getting angry at yourself, but rather saying, okay, let there be light. And let me do something good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could just add on, I think Rabbi gets in those couple of lines just remind me of my two favorite quotes. So I would say when I was teaching in Flushing, Queens, every day in the morning, I would listen to Breslov, just a share on improving your character traits, being more positive, like reflecting on your life and just being grateful. So one of the most powerful quotes that always stuck with me is don't let your personality become your personal reality. So, a lot of times, obviously, we all have things that we're working on. So, whether those things are anger or, just, perhaps feeling like you're always negative about something, don't let that become your actual reality. So, kind of keep that in mind. And I would come to work at 7:30, pumped for the day, just happy. Everyone would ask me why do you always have a smile on your face? I would just say, you really have to put an effort into being that positive person. And once you put that effort in, and once you become that positive person, everyone else around you will change, and your personal reality will actually become what you were thinking of.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's great. I love that. Yeah. So, Rabbi, I would actually love to do this exercise of going around and allowing people to describe themselves with 3 words, how they would want somebody to describe them. 3 words, how, not 3 words of who you are, 3 words of how you would like somebody to describe you. So can we do that? 3 words of how you would like someone to describe you. So can we do that, Rabbi?
Of course, I would encourage people to start, and I would say the same way that God, so to speak, created the world with the power of speech, and God said, let there be light. So too, the power of our self-talk, the most important speech is the one we speak to ourselves. With these 3 words, we create ourselves. It's a very creative idea. How you describe yourself, what kind of an image of yourself you create with your words, because the words are the tools of creating self-image.
Exactly.
So welcome. So I want to welcome our friends to start. Okay. Maybe Alex, Moshe, maybe you go ahead.
Actually, Rabbi, I don't mind. I hope nobody minds. We could actually go around the whole grid. Go around. Yeah, is that
definitely
okay, Rabbi?
Yes.
And like that, everybody could get a chance to respond. So we'll go around. Alex, you want to go first? I don't know. Everybody's grid is different. So
yes, exactly. By me, you are the one who's speaking. So I don't see everybody now, but you can continue on. Dr. Faye, if you want, you call the names.
Okay, very good. Okay, Victoria.
Okay.
3 words of how you would like to be described.
Okay. Genuine, passionate, and wise.
Excellent. So now you take those 3 words and you write them into your telephone, into your notes. Genuine, passionate, and wise. And you keep looking at those. Those are the way you want to be. And every day you say, I'm genuine, I'm passionate, I'm wise. 3 times a day, over and over. I'm genuine, I'm passionate, I'm wise. And you visualize yourself in that position of what does it mean to you to be genuine? What's the story that you could think of that makes you genuine? What's the story that you could think of that makes you passionate? What's the story that you could think of for yourself that makes you wise? How do you visualize yourself as somebody seeing you as genuine? How do you visualize yourself as someone seeing you as passionate? How do you visualize yourself as someone seeing you as wise? Do you get it? Mm-hmm. It's such a beautiful thought. Okay, Alex?
So as I share my 3 words, actually, another suggestion that I have, now that we're all working remotely, whether it's taking Spanish classes or doing Zoom classes or just working, what I would do is, now I'm looking at my 3 words. I'm thinking of making a post-it, and on each post-it just writing those 3 things. And that way, when I get to not this state during the day, when I get to not be so, well, not feel like I really want to be helpful, and not feel like I really want to be caring or honest, then I can take a look at those post-its and see, you know what, even though this person is, perhaps maybe triggering my negative response, I really want to work on being helpful, caring, and honest. So therefore, I'm gonna take this moment as an opportunity to improve myself, and this is really a challenge. It's a lesson that's carried, and I could elevate myself higher by taking this moment and applying it to those character traits that I want to embody.
Exactly. Now say them one more time.
Sure. So I am honest. I am caring. I am helpful.
Excellent. Excellent. And that's what you're going to say to yourself. You know, I am honest. I am caring. I am helpful. And you have to go for, it's even more, you know, it's the visualization of it. It's the sensing of it. It's the feeling of it. I am honest. I am caring. I am helpful. How do I visualize myself as being honest? How do I visualize myself as being caring? How do I visualize myself as being honest? How do I visualize? How can I perform things that will make me be those attributes that I will be perceived as honest, helpful, and caring? Yeah, honest, helpful, caring. Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Okay, Rachel Sinai. Rachel, are you there?
You can continue. Rachel didn't answer next.
Oh, okay. Ronnie. No? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a hard question, but I will try. I am good. I am smart, and I am strong.
I love it. So again, these are 3 words. This is how you want to be described. You want to be described as good. You want to be described as smart. You want to be described as strong. And again, you're going to pay attention to it. You're going to feel the sensation. You're going to visualize, what does that mean that you're a good person? What does that mean that you're a smart person? What does that mean that you're a strong person? What kind of behavior would you have to exhibit in order for you to exhibit yourself? What does that mean to you to be a good person? Do you want to give us an example? When you say to yourself, when you say, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I am. When you say to yourself, I am a good person, what visualizations do you have in your head of being a good person?
People who are in need would come to me and ask for help, and I would help them.
Yeah, beautiful.
Like
yeah, yeah. And what does that mean? How do you envision yourself as being described as a smart person?
I would know the answer to all the questions that people have for me.
I love that. I love that. And that's how you want to be described, as being a smart person, a good person, and strong. How do you envision yourself as where does that focus come on?
I could overcome any challenge, and I could have inner strength
Beautiful.
keep going.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm going to move on. And if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. David, Spinrad. 3 things of how you would want to be described. How would you want to be described? How would you like to be? How would you like to describe yourself? 3 words. No, we're going to pass on. David? Pass? Okay. Deanna, you're next.
Hi, caring, kind, and giving.
Yeah. And again, you know, again, it's that same kind of visualization.
Curious.
A caring, kind, and giving.
Curious.
Somebody, you're on. I don't know what's coming from. Oh, David Spinrad. Yes, your audio doesn't work. We're not hearing you. Oh, there you are. You're there now.
Hello?
We hear you now.
Does it work now?
We hear you clearly.
The 3 words I would pick are curious. Yeah, curious. You do? Okay. Curious, positive, and compassionate.
Beautiful. You would like to be described as, I love it, curious, positive, and compassionate. Now, when you use those words, right, and you visualize yourself as being described as curious, passionate, and positive, is there a certain scenario that you have in your head that says that's the picture of how I see myself in that situation?
Not so much. I'm a little confused in that.
In that part of the question?
I always had a problem with visualization. I never really understood how to do it.
Oh, it's pretty simple. I can teach it to you. What it means is that you take the word, and let's say you want to be described as a person who's positive, right? So visualization means you close your eyes. I hope nobody minds, but we can all do this exercise together. I want to be described as positive. So visualization means I close my eyes and I say, I want people to think of me as being positive. What would that be? Positive. Positive? Oh, I know. Thinking of myself of being positive would mean that when somebody tells me that they had a really bad date, I can be very positive about it. And I could say, or let's say I had a very bad date. I can be very positive about it and say, okay, I'm on to my next date. That would be a positive thought. That's a visualization of a positive thought.
So imagine myself in a scenario where I'm using the trait.
Exactly. Well, you're a good student. Exactly. Right. So can you create a scenario of either curious, positive, or compassionate that made you say, that's the person that I want to be described as?
Okay, I could say where I am on a bus or a plane and I'm sitting next to somebody and I want to find out where this person comes from and what they do, and I start talking to people and learning about them.
I love that. Great. Perfect. Excellent. That would make you a curious person, and that's how you want to be perceived, as a curious. Great. I love it. Okay, Deanna, we're back. Thank you. Deanna, we're back to you. So, Deanna, you said that you want to be described as caring, kind, and giving.
Correct.
Now, do you have a visualization of what it is or what scenario it is that would put you into a caring, kind, or giving situation?
Giving, whenever somebody needs any help or assistance, I would always give any advice or suggestion, or always give my help to them. Beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm moving around. Tzipora Jurayeva. Do you want to participate in the 3 things of how you would like to be described, how you would want to describe yourself, or how you would want people to describe you? Doesn't mean that's what you are, that's what you want to be.
Love to teach what I know, try to judge people favorably, and an understanding person.
Excellent. So the way you would want someone to describe you is as a person who judges people favorably, as a person who is understanding. Was the last one? What was the last one?
Like teaching people, like what I know. I love to teach, like basically giving.
You gotta give me three. Give me three.
Okay, so understand.
Three traits of how you would like to be described.
Okay, so try to judge people favorably, love to teach what I know, and understanding.
Okay, so you would like for people to say about you, wow, she really judges people favorably. Wow, she likes to teach people what she knows. And what was the third one?
Understanding.
Understanding, very good. You see, so those are really, you have them, like that's what you want to be, understand. So do you have a vision in your head? Because you probably do from the words. I think you have an idea or a story in your head of how you would like to be perceived by a story that you have about yourself. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I have to tell you the story, or I'd like?
No, you don't have to at all. No.
I didn't understand your question. I wasn't.
It would be interesting to hear it, but you're not under any pressure to tell it at all.
Okay, so like, I don't know. I don't have nothing in my mind right now.
Okay, that's okay. But those three words are three words that you should write down for yourself, because that's what you want to be described as a person who judges people favorably, as a person who is understanding, as a person who can teach from what their experience has been. And you have to keep going over that in your head. I want to be described as a person who judges people favorably, understands people, likes to teach people from my own person. Are you following?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get Raquel. You want to try? Stay on.
Yeah, sure.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We spent some time in Spain, remember?
Yeah. So I like to see myself as understanding, caring, and happy.
I like that. Understanding, caring, and happy. Right? That's how you like to see yourself. Understanding. I am understanding. I am caring. I am happy, right?
Yep.
Can you give a scenario?
So I try to see myself that way even when I'm not. So this way I find a way to be, so that even when I don't feel like being that way, I find a way to be that way.
Yeah, that's very good. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, Irina, we want you. You're on my grid.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Dr. Faye, I think we need to express our condolences today because Irina lost her grandfather.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I did not. So
close your eyes. Troublemaker.
Okay.
Irina, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Exchange cards
Thank
between
you.
two other
Appreciate
players.
it. I mean, one of the three words I describe myself as,
Close your eyes.
or try to describe myself as, is simcha, happy. That's why I chose that as a Hebrew name for me a few years ago at your house.
Close your eyes.
So every day I kind of try to work towards being that. So that's one of the.
And you're doing a great job.
Close your eyes.
Yeah.
Everyone, keep your eyes closed.